This 2003 robbery was known heist of the century, with large quantities of gold, diamonds and jewelry getting lifted from the Antwerp Diamond Center. The Antwerp Diamond District is one of the most heavily secured places in the world, with billions of dollars of diamonds changing hands there every year. And it was there in 2003 that one gang of thieves pulled off one of the largest diamond heists in history. Even though most of the gang, known as the School of Turin, have been arrested, but the diamonds was never been retrieved. The estimated worth of the missing items was more than $100 million, but as it turns out, there was more to this story. Leonardo Notarbartolo orchestrated the robbery, and lived beside the Diamond Center for 3 years, prior to the crime. As part of his sophisticated ruse, Leonardo posed as an Italian diamond merchant in order to gain credibility at the center. More than 123 out of 160 safe deposit boxes were forced open, each of which was made of steel, and had a unique key combination lock. Leonardo was arrested, though his entire crew got away. Years later, he gave an interview to Wired magazine, in which he claims the whole thing was an insurance fraud attempt by a diamond merchant who hired him. Apparently, the actual score was closer to $20 million, leaving the lion's share of the theft to be suffered by the insurance company, and the story goes on, and still remains a mystery to the world. The year was 1671. Thomas Blood, an Irish adventurer, more commonly known as Colonel Blood or Captain Blood, although he'll likely be remembered in history as the crown jewel thief. Interestingly, despite being the first man to attempt to steal the United Kingdom's most valuable jewels, was an Irish assassin, obviously, who decided to try his hand at robbery. His humble target? The crown jewels of England, which are held in the Tower of London and surrounded by guards, a lot of guards. Blood's plan involved costumes, a fake title, a fake wife, played by a prostitute, and a fake nephew which he claimed would marry the daughter of Talbot Edwards, the keeper of the jewels. After securing a private viewing, the gang knocked Talbot out, smashed the jewels with mallets and stuffed them in their pants to make a run for it. They didn't get too far though, with several guards reportedly tackling them off their horses. Blood lucked out, however, as King Charles II was so amused by the attempt, he pardoned Thomas and let him retire on a nice spot of land in Ireland. An interesting story, right? In 2009, an otherwise docile police force in Sweden had to face a highly organized gang of daring criminals, in the country's first ever helicopter robbery. The crew of thieves used a stolen helicopter to land on the roof of a cash depot building. They broke through glass with sledgehammers, blew through security doors with explosives and raided the cash store vaults, stealing bags of money as they made their escape. Police cars arriving on the scene had their tires blown out by cattle drops that the criminals had littered all over the road. A 7 million Swedish krona reward was announced the following day for anyone with information that could lead to the arrest of the robbers and or the return of the stolen goods. None of the thieves who were caught received more than 7 years in prison though, so if you're going to practice your criminal skills in any country, Sweden might be a safe bet. This was the first robbery involving a helicopter in Swedish history. A favorite among conspiracy theorists, D.B. Cooper, also known as Dan Cooper, performed the only unsolved air piracy act in American history. On November 24, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, a nondescript man who appeared to be in his mid-40s, and about 6 feet tall bought a $20 ticket for Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a Boeing 727. He gave his name as Dan Cooper, which later turned out to be fake. Shortly after takeoff from Portland, he handed a note to a flight attendant in which he claimed to have a bomb in his briefcase. He then proceeded to open the case, which contained numerous wires, red sticks, and a battery. Cooper demanded 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills, worth about $1.2 million in the early 21st century. After the flight landed in Seattle, Cooper released the 36 passengers when authorities provided the money and parachutes. However, he forced 2 pilots, a flight engineer, and a flight attendant to remain on the plane. After it refueled, he ordered the pilots to fly to Mexico City. Per his instructions, the plane flew under 10,000 feet at a speed slower than 200 knots. Around 8 p.m., while between Seattle and Reno, Nevada, widely believed to be near Ariel, Washington, Cooper lowered the rear steps and jumped. He then disappeared. Despite years of searches, and an ongoing FBI investigation, neither the body or money have ever been recovered. Manhunt in law enforcement. A manhunt is an extensive and thorough search for a wanted and dangerous fugitive involving the use of police units, technology, and help from the public. The assumption is that he parachuted to an uncertain fate, but his case remains active at the Bureau for over 40 years, and has amassed 60 volumes of theories. The Great Train Robbery was the robbery of £2.6 million, £40 million today, from a Royal Mail train, heading from Glasgow to London, on the West Coast Main Line in the early hours of August 8, 1963, at Bridgend Railway Bridge, in England. The robbers stopped the train by turning off a green track signal, and with batteries turning on a red signal. The train's fireman went to investigate, was captured by the robbers and was unharmed. The engineer was severely injured by a blow on the head. The robbers took about 120 mail bags by Land Rovers to their farm hideaway, where they divided the loot. Subsequently 6 thieves were hired to burn down the farmhouse, but did such a poor job that the police found everyone's fingerprints. With this and other evidence, 12 of the 15 robbers were caught, convicted, and sent to prison. The best part is that, the 15-member gang managed to pull off the caper without using a single gun. Which led by Bruce Reynolds, as well as 3 men known as Numbers 1, 2 and 3. 2 of whom later turned out to be Harry Smith and Danny Pembroke. Found some resemblance to the bank robbery in Batman movie? The next one in our list is much more interesting. In 2010, a team of robbers used sophisticated and unknown tools to burrow underground, and into a Parisian bank's vaults, where they proceeded to rob over 100 safety deposit boxes. The value of the stolen items cannot be known, as wealthy clients confidentially managed their containers. A very similar crime occurred months earlier at a bank to the north of the city, with over 100 boxes robbed, making the same mystery team the top suspects. The thieves tied up the security guard at Crédit Lyonnais branch on Paris's Avenue de l'Opéra on Saturday night, before boring through a series of neighboring cellars to reach the vault. Police said they spent several hours opening the safes and set the place on fire as they left. The value of the stolen goods is still being estimated, and still it's an unsolved mystery. As the decade-long Iraq conflict finally comes to close, so too does the mystery of a stockpile of American cash worth billions, lost during the war. In 2004, between $10 billion to $20 billion worth of cash, depending on reports, was airshipped to Iraq. The money was made up largely of Iraq's own assets and intended to finance reconstruction projects. Earlier the year, reported that the government had accounted for almost all of these funds, except for $6 billion, that was thought to have disappeared. In all the chaos of post-Saddam Iraq, with private security contractors, former Iraqi military and the U.S. Army, all fighting for control of the region, someone made off with over $6 billion worth of the money Congress dumped on the country. Special Inspector General for Iraq Reconstruction, Stuart Bowen, admitted he couldn't account for the money, and called it the largest theft of funds in national history. The absurd quantity, complete lack of investigatory results, as well as the manner in which everyone just seemed to forget about it, makes this the largest and strangest of robberies. This one may sound familiar to anyone who's seen 30 Minutes or less, but the real story is far more tragic. In 2003, a middle-aged pizza deliveryman named Brian Wells walked into a PNC bank in Erie, Pennsylvania. He had a short cane in his right hand, and a strange bulge under the collar of his t-shirt. He passed the teller a note that quoted, "Gather employees with access codes to vault, and work fast to fill bag with $250,000, and you have only 15 minutes. And then lifted his shirt to display a collar bomb around his neck and chest. After stealing the money, he got about 15 minutes away before state troopers arrested him. He started screaming that he had been forced to perform the robbery and the bomb was going to go off. The police surrounded the area and waited for the disposal squad to arrive, but before they could get there, the bomb started beeping and blew up. The tale only gets stranger from there, with FBI investigators, a long paper trail of clues, and dead bodies hidden in freezers. It's totally strange, right? In 1990, March 18, while the entire city of Boston celebrated St. Patrick's Day by chugging beer and smack-talking the Yankees, two thieves dressed as Boston police officers entered the museum and stole 13 works of art. The missing pieces include Johannes Vermeer's The Concert, Rembrandt van Ryn's A Lady and Gentleman in Black, Christ in the Storm on the Sea of Galilee, portrait of the artist as a young man, Hovert Flink's landscape with an obelisk, Edouard Manet's Chez Tortoni, 3 mounted jockeys Louisiana Sortie de Passage, 2 studies for an artistic soiree, an ancient Chinese beaker, a bronze eagle finial, estimated at $500 million total. Guards admitted 2 men posing as police officers, responding to a disturbance call, and the thieves tied the guards up and looted the museum over the next hour. Empty frames currently hang in the room, in homage to the missing art and in hopes that they will one day be returned. This is one of the greater unsolved mysteries in American crime. The museum is offering a $10 million reward for information leading to the art's recovery, the largest bounty ever offered by a private institution. A smash-and-grab robbery, worthy of the best James Bond plot, that was foiled by London police. The Millennium Dome raid was an attempted robbery of the Millennium Dome's Diamond Exhibition, in Greenwich, southeast London, occurring on November 7, 2000. The plan, carefully orchestrated by local villains, Lee Wenham, Raymond Betson, and William Cockram. London had finally finished construction on the catastrophic waste of money, known as the Millennium Dome. Among its many displays, was a world-class diamond exhibit. The crown jewel was the Millennium Star, 203.04 carats diamond. The Millennium Star is a diamond, owned by De Beers. De Beers Group is an international corporation that specializes in diamond exploitation, diamond mining, diamond retail, diamond trading and industrial diamond manufacturing sectors. The company is currently active in open-pit, large-scale alluvial, coastal and deep-sea mining. It is the world's second largest, known top-color, internally and externally flawless, pear-shaped diamond. A flawless gem worth $250 million. The robbers planned an explosive smash-and-grab job, running in guns blazing and escaping on a waiting speedboat. Their plan was foiled, however, as London's Metropolitan Police had coincidentally already had them under surveillance for a few armored car robberies. Thank you for watching, and if you do like the video, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. It's all free of cost.